go. Okay. So yeah, Cedar Bay. Like so, during the end of my stay at Fruitopia, I got to come with Carl and Julia to Cedar Bay. Like they wanted to make a little trip as a break from the farm and go and explore the Daintree. And so we went, like with light backpacks and the car full of fruit. Like it was something like an hour and 2 hours drive, I think, from Mariba. And it was by the coast, so it got really tropical, and there was actually was crocodile country. You could really feel it, like, and there were signs everywhere saying crocodile. So I took great care of not going into the water, but however we were ill prepared. No one of us really knew what we were doing, like where the place was really, and we only knew kind of. Like Julian had the most experience in these kind of matters, and so he brought everything we needed. Like we drove first to the Aboriginal land and some small suburban place. Was actually like the suburbs, but in the tropics. Uh, Very nice, and there was a big waterfall as well. Wuju Wuju, I think it's called, waterfall, and we actually took picture of it. And After that, we headed off to the national park, and we saw a sign from the road that headed straight into the forest. Like it didn't really look like the entrance at first. Like it was just this, yeah, old sign sort of, and at first we passed it, like thinking there must be another way or might be another way, because the entrance still really looked like a like proper entrance, but we didn't find any other one. So, and the guys at the camping said you could walk from there, so we drove in and parked our car by the first river. And since it was not a four-wheel drive, and you really need good cars for those kind of environments, yeah, my every car we saw there like was four-wheel drives and was like a at least half a meter off ground. Like it was such a big car. We didn't have one of those, so it was really uneven terrain there. And but we went out with our backpacks and started hiking. And Carl made a video about our journey there, and you can see it in the link. And so in the beginning, the terrain was okay, and I think it was like something like an hour walk to go to what looked like a residence area, and then signs following up to Cedar Bay. And so we decided to say hello, because we were told that someone called Forrest John lived there and could maybe guide us to Cedar Bay, but we never saw him. We heard some dogs or saw dogs. So the clock was ticking. Actually, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we decided to continue, because I knew it was going to become dark at 6 o'clock, and the sign said Cedar Bay 6 kilometers, 3 hours. So I said, like, yeah, either we go now or we decide to stay and hitch to tomorrow, or to, yeah, hike tomorrow. But yeah, we decided to continue, or yeah, and uh, and we went in, and the terrain was like the most ridiculous, or like the most difficult I've come across. Like seriously, it was barely a track, like barely a track. There were like pink ribbons, some places, some trees marking the track, but it was very narrow, overgrown on some parts, and trees fallen over, and like these wait a while vines hanging on spots too. But we were on a good mood, and it seemed like, yeah, I was a bit concerned on my part and like uncomfortable, because hiking in the dark in the tropics was maybe not something I felt was wise to do. So, and Carl had these like mountain sandals and a big jackfruit hanging from his neck. It's like it's just crazy, really. So we went deeper and deeper through the jungle with machetes and backpacks, and like no one knew that we were there. Like really, no one knew we were there. And it's like could crazy. Like could have gone either way. Like he could, yeah. It was like in a movie, like a horror movie or something. Yeah. And yeah, up and down, and some parts crossing streams of water and deep paths or steep paths. But after a while, we could hear the ocean coming closer and closer, and soon after we could smell it, and you knew we were close. Like the first part of our trek was uphill, and the final part was downhill towards the beach. And so we were coming close, uh, or yeah, as we were coming closer, uh, we could see the beach, but it was not a sandy beach. It was just pebble stones and rocks. And we thought, or I thought, like, no, we thought, like, was this it? Like the trip took 1.5 hour, close to 2 hours, and we took a little break there to rest, and it was a good spot to make a camp, and it was sheltered, and yeah, could put our hammocks up and so on. But Julian spotted the beach just far ahead, like along the coastline. It goes further up north, and in order to get there, we had to do rock chopping for a couple of more hours. Like, and yes, so we did. But we were getting tired, and the sun was coming down every minute. Like some of the rocks were big and required quite the jump to cross. And Carl was still with his jackfruit hanging over his neck. I was like, I was thoroughly impressed how he managed to carry that all the way uh, with mountain sandals and still be able to jump rocks. Like that was, yeah, crazy. But we did, and Julian took the lead, and we jumped for maybe another 1.5 hour before it was getting dim. And some of the parts were quite dangerous actually. Like, but we proceeded somehow. We were getting tired, and the last sunlight gave us just enough time to set up camp on rocks by trees that were growing there. Like uh, maybe like just 10 or 15 meters from the water, and it was quite windy and a bit chilly as well. Like I couldn't really sleep. Like we sat down with our torches and ate our food, and finally we could eat that jackfruit. But I said to Carl, like, you carried that thing all the way over there, and you deserve it. But he wanted to share, and so we did. So quite quite glad that we made it here. Like it was a nice night, but no rain, just a light drizzle. Like I had maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Like the rest was a bit too cold for me. So the next morning we continued. We were very close to the beach by this time, like maybe another 20 minutes of rock jumping, and we were there. Like the most beautiful, or well, very not beautiful beaches. Like it was all alone. Like no one was there. Like so secluded, and yeah, it was nice. Like and there were coconut trees and maybe a few kilometers of beach, and no sign. But yeah, but signs of crocodiles as well. Like I never saw a crocodile the whole time I was there. I could see the signs saying like warning of crocodiles, but and there were these river mouths that looked like crocodiles might be living there, but we never went in there because we just stayed on the beach. So we found our new spot for our camp, and among the first thing Julian did was climb up a coconut tree and bring down maybe 30, 40 coconuts for us. Like they were delicious. I ate as many as I could. I really liked the jellyfish. Like that was delicious. Yeah, wow. And so after restoring our strength, we put up our hammocks and then sort of relaxed or explored the beach. I walked around naked for most part since there was nobody there. Like, I had a bit of a swim in the ocean and explored the end of the beach and the signposts and things. And people had been planting coconut trees there, and for a while. And apparently, some time ago, there were people living there in the Cedar Bay growing marijuana. So but the police came and raided them, and so there were traces of people's camp all along the beach and things, but very little actually. But so apparently we came in the back way of Cedar Bay. The entrance, actually the real entrance, was on the other end of the beach, extending for like over 6 hours through the jungle. And so yeah, but Julian made a campfire during the night, and because there were wild pigs on the beach actually. They didn't do anything, mostly just looking for food, and we were up in our hammocks, and we spent one night on the beach, and there were wild pigs during the night, and yeah. Other than that, I slept well, more so than the first night. It was a bit warmer there, but and I remember sitting by the fire during the night, and Julian and Carl were away at the beach, and I heard some wrestling and growling like in the bushes. So I yelled out to Julian, like, "They're here!" And we started to bark and scare them away. Although I'm sure they wouldn't have done anything. So the next morning we packed our bags and headed back home. Like this time through the other entrance we found, which was on the map actually. The other one wasn't even on the map. So we cracked a few coconuts and had breakfast, and as well as refilled our water bottles with the coconut water. And me and Carl got to climb up a coconut tree and to get our meal, and then we set off, and it was high tide as well, so the beach looked a bit different from yesterday morning. So I accidentally took us a bit too far when locating where the other entrance was, because the river mouths were really shallow the other day. So, but now they were up to your belly, so we crossed one too many. But it was okay. We just turned away and quickly found it again, and off we went to the jungle. So yeah, looking at the map, I figured it would maybe take 2 or 3 hours to walk to the other path, but this was not taking into account the steep mountain hill. It was brutal. It was maybe 2 hours walking nothing but up, like really high, like steep. It was fun, but very hard. Like I quickly realized that if we had not gotten those coconuts and the water from it, this would have been like very bad. But we climbed, and reaching the top, it became flat, and maybe after an hour or so, we took 30 minutes break where I had some rest, and the track was very nice and gentle, and compared to the other one, like no obstacles of any kind. It just took a long time. Like after the first break, we continued, and we continued for maybe another 3.5 hours, and the track just went on for 6.5 hours through the forest. And yeah, it was hard to know when it was going to end. Like it felt like an eternity. Like really, we went for about 6.5 hours just following along these pink ribbons, like up and downs, and it was like wow. And finally, we made it to the camping site where we asked the people where we were and how to get to the main road. Like, and it was another 3 kilometers walk by this time, and I was pretty tired and not very keen on walking anymore. But we marched, and after a while, this nice guy in a van came and picked us up. Ah, man, that was very nice, so nice. And he took us all the way to the main road and even continued with Carl so that he could go up and pick up our car. So we waited in the suburbs, you could say, and sat on the grass and waited. And after a while, he came with the car, and we ate the remaining fruit we had in there, and especially the dragon's fruits, which were yummy. And yeah, then after a long day, we headed back, and that was the end of the Cedar Bay story. After that, I had planned to go to Innisfail with Marcelo the day after, which I had met in our at Fruitopia. So yeah, that will be the next part. That was a long one as well.